Welcome back to episode 3 of our newest show Thinkercad. This today we are gonna learn a new aspect of robotics. So put on your thinker caps and join us in this journey. So today we are gonna learn how to do voltage control. So now voltage control might sound like a very difficult terminology, but let me explain to you in a simple manner. So until now what we have learned is turning an LED on or off. So that's zero and full power, right? But say we want to control a fan, a ceiling fan. So in that case we need to control the speed of the fan as well, as is done normally by a regulator. So to build a regulator we need to control the power supply to the fan. So today we are going to learn exactly how to do that. So let's jump to Thinkercad. So now we have loaded the Thinkercad up, as you can see, and now I am going to create a new circuit. So just a friendly reminder, all of the circuits you are seeing are from the previous 2 episodes of Thinkercad, so you can go check them out for better understanding of this episode. So now I'm going to create a new circuit in Thinkercad like so, and now we are going to wait for the circuit to load up. So as we can see, our workspace is loading up, and now it has loaded up. So there is a workspace and a part speaker beside it, as has been described before. So now we are gonna take the components once again and put them in the workspace as we do always, right? So let's do that. For this project again I'm going to use an LED. So we are going to control the LED. We are going to not turn the LED on immediately, but we are going to control the LED voltage and turn it on slowly step by step. So it's going to turn on in a dim fashion, then it's going to go brighter, and then finally to the full brightness. So whatever I said just now, let's execute that in Tinkercad. So for that, first let's make a parts list. So if you guys remember, we are gonna need a brain of the robot, which is an Arduino. So that's part number 1. We are gonna need an LED, so that's part number 2. And don't forget the current limiting resistor that prevents the LED from burning. So that's part number 3. So we're gonna need 3 parts. So let's put them in the workspace. So there's an LED. There is the resistor. And finally, this is the Arduino, right there. So let's connect the circuit first of all. So if you guys remember, we need to connect the positive leg of the LED to the resistor, and then connect the other leg of the resistor to the Arduino pin, and from the negative pin of the LED to the ground pin of the Arduino. So I'm gonna connect the positive pin of the Arduino, positive pin of the LED to the Arduino via the resistor to pin number 2. So let's do that. There we go. And as always, I'm gonna use the convention, which is red for positive and black for negative. There we go, like so. And now we're connecting the ground connection. Like this. So connections is up, and now we are going to shift to the code. Again, it's block coding, so we don't have to write anything, just drag and drop blocks. So this is the default code that we usually delete, so let's do that again, like so. And same as before, we are gonna put a set pin block like this. So our pin number is 2 once again, so I'm gonna set the pin number to 2 and set it to high, which means on. So now we have turned on our LED, but what about slowly turning it on? So for that we are going to use something called PWM, which is pulse width modulation. So here what we do is we increase the voltage slowly in a pulse fashion. So the pulse width modulation ranges from 0 to 5 volts, which is supplied by the Arduino, and this 0 to 5 volts is divided in 256 divisions. So 0 is 0 and 5 volts is 255. So we can control the LED in 254 steps between 0 and 255. So let's do that. So as you guys can see, my set pin block gives me only the opportunity to turn it to 0, which is low, or 1, which is high. So that's a digital. For PWM we need an analog block. So I'm gonna replace this set pin block with another set pin block, but this time notice what the changes are. So this is the new set pin block that I'm gonna use. So notice the change here. This new set pin block is not just high or low, but it gives us a opportunity to put in an integer value, right? So let's implement that. So I'm gonna delete the earlier set pin block, and I'm gonna place the new set pin block in here. So as we can see, so there is a variable field, empty variable field, to change the value of this set pin. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this to pin number 2, but as you guys can see, there is no pin number 2, because one thing we need to notice that not all of the pins in the Arduino are PWM compatible pins. So we cannot control the voltage with all of the pins. So how do we know how to recognize the pin with which we can control the PWM? It's very simple really. So why are all the pins in the Arduino not compatible with pulse width modulation? So for that, let's take a closer look at the Arduino. So I will turn off the code here, and I will take a closer look at the Arduino board itself. So as you guys can see, these are the pin numbers with which we can recognize the pins. But notice one thing, there is a slight tilde symbol or a slash type of symbol behind some of the pin numbers, like pin number 3, pin number 5, pin number 6, pin number 9, pin number 10 and pin number 11. So 6 pin in total. So out of the 13 digital pins, 0 to 13, as we can see here, out of those 14 pins, so there are only 6 pins that have those symbols. So what does that symbol mean exactly? So that symbol is exactly for PWM, as written in downwards. Besides digital, you can see there is a bracket written PWM tilde. So that means that this digital pins with this tilde symbol is compatible with PWM. So we can only use these 6 pins to control voltage of any device connected to those pins. So for our requirement, pin 2 is incompatible because it's not a PWM powered pin. So what is the first PWM powered pin? Which is pin 3, which is right beside pin 2. So what I will do is I will go ahead and I will change this pin from pin number 2 to pin number 3. So as we can see, I'm gonna select the wire like so. I'm gonna hold this joint and I'm gonna pull from 2 to 3. So as we can see, it has now shifted to a PWM compatible pin. Now we can jump back in the coding and we can change the things and make it work. So let's do that. So it's set to pin number 3 and right now it's set to 0. So 0 means low, which is 0 volts. So now we have to gradually increase it to like 255, level 255, which means 5 volts. So let's do that. I'm gonna write a logic and then I'm gonna explain the logic. So we have completed the block coding. So let's explain the coding to you now. So what I have done is I have taken a variable I. So a variable is any alphabet from A to Z, or even words like name, anything you want. You can put a constant number in a variable. For here I am just simply using the variable I. So I am using the variable I, which is also an alphabet, as a carrier for our number. So I am gonna first put I as 0 and then I am gonna increment it by 1 with each loop until it reaches 256, which is the maximum value for PWM, and then I'm gonna shift it again to 0. So if you can see at my block progression, what I have done is here is the first line is set I to, which means it sets I to 0. So that's the reset button. Next I have written repeat 255 times. So why 255 times? To understand that, let's check it out inside the contents of that block. What is inside that block? So what is inside that block? So there are 3 blocks inside that block. So which is change I by 1, which means we're gonna add 1 to I each time the loop repeats, and then set pin to I, which means it's gonna set the value of pin number 3 to I. As I said, we need to provide a value of 0 to 255 for PWM to work. So that is what is happening here. and then wait for 10 milliseconds. Why wait for 10 milliseconds? Because as I have already told earlier, the clock speed of the microcontroller is very high for human eyes to register that. So the bulb is gonna turn on and off so fast that we won't be able to see the fading. So that is why I have given a wait or a delay of 10 milliseconds. So that is the whole thing. So the I will change by 1 will be added to I. So initially if I was 0, I will turn into 1. Then the value of the PWM will turn into 1 because it is connected to I. Then it will wait for 10 milliseconds. Then again the loop will repeat. The I will turn into 2 because earlier it was 1. And then the same thing will happen again and again and again until it completes 255 times, because the loop has been set to repeat 255 times as it has been written on the block. So now with the code aside, let's check out if our system is working. So before I turn on the system, I'm noticing something wrong in the circuit. Can you guys point it out? So if you guys point it out, just comment it out in the comments. So let's count to 5 before revealing the surprise. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's the resistance value. So once again, I told in the earlier videos that the resistance comes at a default value of 1 kilo ohm, which we don't need. It's too high. For a single LED, a 220 ohm resistance is very enough to limit the current. So it's really a high resistance, which means the LED won't be turning on to its full brightness. So it will turn on, but in a dimming state, which we won't be able to understand. So let's turn it to 220, like so, and then I'm going to turn the kilo ohm to ohms, the unit, like this. So with that, our whole circuit is complete now. So let's turn on the circuit and see the simulation if what we did was indeed correct, or if we have to make any other changes. So let's see that. If I zoom at the LED, so you guys can now see that it is not turning on at once now. It's slowly turning on and then off again and then on again. If this seems too fast, I have already given, as I showed, I have already given a delay of 10 milliseconds. It will wait for 10 milliseconds before each step. But even if that feels too fast, let's see what happens when we change the wait. So I will just go in the blocks again and I will change the wait time. So it was 10 milliseconds earlier. Let's turn it to say 50 milliseconds and see what happens. So it's 10 right now. I'm gonna just turn it to 50, like so, and then I'm gonna close the code and start the simulation again. See, so now you will see that it is still turning on in a fading manner, but at a much slower pace. So what is happening behind the scenes is that the loop that was happening, the repetition that was happening before, it was happening at 10 millisecond intervals. Now it's happening at 50 millisecond intervals. So the interval has increased. So the total loop, which is the total dimming of the LED from off to totally on, has extended. So it's turning on pretty slowly and then off again. So that was it for today, guys. Hope you are liking this episode. If you are loving this content, give a like. That would be fabulous. If you didn't watch our earlier episodes, please go and watch them, because that would help you understand this episode better and the future episodes. So if you want to further watch content like this, consider subscribing to our channel. We do love feedbacks, so please go pour your heart out in the comments. If you are new to Thinking in Lab, check us out at thinkinginlab.com. Thank you.